Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Here we are, another hotly contested election. I don't think it matters who will be announced as the winner of this election. Someone is going to be furious. Regardless of who wins, chaos is likely to erupt. And with both candidates suggesting they might be unwilling to concede to the other, expect unrest to break loose in cities across our country. Research shows that about 23% of Americans and 33% of Republicans believe that true American patriots may have to resort to violence in order to save our country. That is a 5% increase among Republicans and 8% increase among the general public since 2021. Meanwhile, 75% of Americans believe that American democracy is at risk in the 2024 election. That may be something worth fighting for, especially when 39% of Trump supporters and 42% of Biden supporters, who would now be Harris supporters, report having no friends who support the opposing candidate. When people do not trust or socialize with people unlike them, violence between groups is more likely. The threat of political violence will likely hang over the nation's capital in the weeks following Election Day, security experts say, despite intensive preparations by law enforcement officials determined to avoid another January 6th insurrection. The 2,000-plus officers who make up the U.S. Capitol Police, as well as federal law enforcement agencies like the Secret Service, have responded to a surge in threats against elected officials during the last few years, including 2 assassination attempts against Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. So do you see, they're expecting things to go down, and the politicians are making sure that they are safe. It's up to you to make sure that you are safe. The threats, attacks, and shooting have led to questions about whether the 2 agencies are truly prepared for the presidential transition, especially after a report released this week said the Secret Service requires fundamental reform to carry out its mission. The agency is tasked with planning and coordinating security for Congress certification of the Electoral College on January 6th. The first time it's been designated a national special security event, and Inauguration Day on January 20th. So you see, once again, they're tasked with protecting the government leaders, not the people. Interviewed by State's Newsroom, said there is a very real chance of political violence in the weeks and months ahead, though they said law enforcement agencies have learned from recent events. The unrest could build after what is expected to be a very close presidential election, with results possibly delayed for days or longer, or even litigated in the courts. Unfortunately, you can never have 100% security. It's nice to think that would exist, but if you're trying to consider all the different kinds of variables that you have to plan for, there's always going to be a gap or vulnerability. Now, what you try to do is kind of minimize the big one and hope the small ones don't get exploited. Making the situation more complicated this year has shown that substantial levels of security aren't a guarantee of safety. Trump has some of the highest level of protection in the country, if not the world, but that did not stop a man from shooting at the former president during a rally in Pennsylvania this summer. A separate would-be gunman was spotted and apprehended just off Trump's Florida golf course with a semi-automatic weapon in September. Both instances raise questions about the Secret Service's ability to protect Trump as well as others, though agency leaders maintain they're up to the task. West from the Brookings Institution said violence isn't likely to take place in the days immediately following the end of voting on November 5th, since it's unlikely anyone learns the results of the presidential election for a few days. The Associated Press didn't call the race for President Joe Biden until Saturday after the election in 2020, following days of speculation and ballot counting. Now, one of the reasons it takes a while, there's so many people, so many ballots to count, and mail-in ballots, which Democrats tend to submit in larger numbers than Republicans, could lead to confusion in swing states, especially if people don't understand. They tend to boost numbers for Democratic candidates over GOP politicians as they're counted, he said. As preppers, we need to focus on prepping for SHTF scenarios, including civil unrest, post-election unrest, possibly potential martial law. When you look at concerns about the election chaos, disputed election results, and political instability, it's crucial to understand survival tips like bugging in during chaos, preparing for election riots, and widespread civil unrest. Whether you're an experienced prepper or you're just starting out, it's important that you pay attention to your surroundings. You are responsible for your own safety, and if you see how quickly things went out of control in cities all across America in the last election cycle, this could be an extended period of time when we want to hunker down and make sure that we are safe and have the things we need. Get your food, get your water, get your first aid supplies, anything you need for hygiene. Harden your home. Check over your things like locks. Secure your windows and doors. Have your personal protection plan in mind. Keep your car full of gas in case you need to bug out. Make sure that you have an idea of where are the back roads you could go down if you needed to bug out and there were riots going on around you. Have a plan. Likely we're the safest in our home, but you never know what kind of chaos can come. But have your bug out bag, your car full of gas, and make sure you have cash on hand in small bills so that you are prepared for whatever comes our way. We can't control what's going to happen. We can prepare and then hope for the best. Prepare like a pessimist, live like an optimist, and then we'll have the best outcome that we can. Let us know in the comments below, are there any forgotten preps that you think we need to have on hand before the election results are announced? All the way until after the inauguration, from November all the way to January. That's a lot of preparation and a lot of things to think about. I hope you'll like my video, share it, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.